I'd like to welcome you to the House of Thrillers. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight we're going to be reading something special. The 14th Denial by Lee Cody. Black screen. It's the 14th Denial by Lee Cody. We're in the interior of a dark blue 1963 Plymouth at night. J.W. Rich, Wayne Chessman, Elmer Cato, and James Davis, Tush Hogs. These four men are called Tush Hogs, better known as rednecks, or men of low moral fiber, all young 20-somethings. They're drinking beer as they cruise the riot area in Cato's sports car with loud, rumbling pipes. It's 1964. In the background, in the car, we can hear the announcer speaking about the riots. J.W. Rich says, "Let's go see if we can't find what we're looking for." We're in the exterior of a lone road at dusk. We pull a lone figure from dark. This figure, a middle-aged black lady, seems to be minding her own business. She carries home bags of groceries that will feed her 10 children. This is Johnnie Mae Chappell. Johnnie Mae Chappell. Headlights appear in the background, a souped-up sports car. Two figures lean out of the windows, blurting obscenities. The rumbling car pulls up to the black woman. We see a gun coming out the window. We see a bleeding body on the ground, struggling for life. We fade to black. We cut to title. The 14th Amendment, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. We cut to a crawl, white letters on black. We fade to the exterior of a marina in the day. Beautiful boats in a harbor. It's a pleasant day. Sign reading Jacksonville Marina. We're in the interior of a boat gallery. We see Lee Cody, ex-detective, washing dishes in a small sink. Through the clean windows, a revolving shot of beauty. He shakes his head as if longing for a better day. Angle on Lee Cody's face. We see a white beard with a full head of hair, blue wise eyes. It's a montage. Lee Cody observes the dead body of Johnnie Mae Chappell. Lee Cody going over a case with Sheriff Carson. Lee Cody finding the murder weapon. Lee Cody handing in his badge and gun. Lee Cody in voiceover. Whistleblowers are not your ordinary citizens. In fact, even though it's the right thing to do, they've got to be a little crazy because a lot of bad things happen to them afterward. I worked in Jacksonville, Florida with the Duval County Sheriff's Office for 7 years, reaching the rank of Detective Sergeant. In 1964, in the midst of the volatile times surrounding the civil rights movement, my partner, Donald R. Coleman, Sr., solved one of our nation's worst hate crimes and paid for it with our careers. It's later in the day. Our camera rolls over a number of boxes, manila envelopes, irrefutable evidence that exposes blatant racism prevalent in high places in both federal and state offices, and flagrant violations of the 14th Amendment. Oprah even mentioned it. The History Channel, Court TV, and Dateline. The tragic story of the premeditated murder of Johnnie Mae Chappell, a 35-year-old law-abiding black mother of 10. A story of racism and public corruption at its ugliest. We dissolve to the exterior of Jacksonville at night. We pull a squad car from the dark, its headlights illuminating the night. It appears quiet outside. We superimpose August 7th, 1964. The interior of the squad car. We hear behind the dispatcher Cat Stevens playing on the radio. I remember standing here right on the very same side. I was dying, but for you it was just another night. Lee Cody and his partner, Donald Coleman, patrol the streets. They pacify at the local building, where earlier civil unrest had taken place, and now law enforcement has cleaned up the mess. Even in those days, there was no shortage of work for detectives. Donald and I were working our contacts on the 4 to midnight shift in northwest Duval County. We knew every moonshine bumper joint so-called because the moonshine there was sold in 25-cent bumper shops. And we knew every white roadhouse in Northeast Florida as well. We knew of the skin games and the cat houses operating in Jacksonville and throughout Duval County. The most infamous bordello that ever operated in Duval County was named the Green Lantern, which ironically was located on Moncrief Road, not far from the location where Johnnie Mae Chappell would be murdered. We cut to the exterior of the road at dusk. A woman lies dead on the side of the road, a blanket over her body. I just can't get over it, Donald. She was a good woman. What do you say, Cole? The alligator lady or the red rooster? Maybe we should head over to the Black Shack and then Bo Weaver's Fine Inn. What Donald said made sense. There were contacts there like Yay, a Cuban who ran the Havana nightclub, which was located on Avenue B. They would talk with informants like Algie, a huge black man who ran the Silver Star. The clubs like the famous Two Spot were famous and fabulous black performers like B.B. King, Dinah Washington, Sam Cooke, James Brown, Lionel Hampton. Cody and Coleman enter the Havana. They were met by a big, exuberant black woman, Bolita. She's the manager. Hello, Sergeant Cody and Sergeant Coleman, the two most handsome policemen I know. One of these days, Bolita is gonna change your luck. Lee Cody says, in my dreams. You around? Hasn't been in today. Anything I can help you with? We got some business, Bonita. Might want to check over at the Freezette. We cut to the Freezette. Cody and Coleman sit at a table while owner Bob Perry, one of their informants, cooks for them. The three of them compare notes. Cody notices a white male, Wayne Chessman, a 21-year-old redneck, a known troublemaker. Sergeant Cody nods to him. When Chessman finishes eating, he rises and suddenly approaches the detectives. Officer Cody, I just want to let you know that I'm going to straighten my life out. My mother has married a wealthy man who works for the airlines in South Florida. He's going to get me a job, and I'm going back to school. If I can ever help you guys, call me. Chessman leaves. The hell's that all about? How do you know this man? I gave him a few tickets, but I have no idea why Chessman said what he said. We fade to the time cut. The interior of Freezette's 2 days later. As Cody and Coleman are seated, a souped-up dark blue Plymouth. Loud mufflers drives up and parks. Cato is notorious for a hot rod. Chessman spots the detective. I just wanted to remind you again that if I can ever help officers, let me know. Chessman departs abruptly, returns to Cato's car, mufflers vibrating the windows as it leaves the parking lot. The officers recognize guilt when they see it. Donald, Chessman has something serious on his mind. What's on your mind? On March 24th, when I read the reports generated at the scene on the night of Miss Chappell's death, the original investigative reports contained only the victim's name, the type and date of the offense, the name of the two reported witnesses, and their description of the vehicle that the gunshot had come from. According to the on-site report, the only thing the witnesses said with certainty about the car was that it was a dark vehicle and had left the scene at a very high rate of speed, proceeding on US Highway 1 North. That dark car of Cato's matches the general description of the car used in the Chappell homicide. I bet both Chessman and Cato were involved in that homicide one way or another. North Duval County, where these men were reared, was a hotbed of activity for the Ku Klux Klan. So it wouldn't be surprising for them to have fallen into something like this. Men in this area of Duval County were subjected to racism all their life, and it's unrealistic to think that they weren't influenced by their environment or capable of committing such crime. We dissolve to the interior of the gallery at sunrise. We are back with Lee Cody, looking out over the same beautiful marina. I remember a story my grandmother once told me, how she had observed a black man being dragged down Bay Street in Jacksonville while chained to a car. And then there were the riots. We cut to the exterior of downtown Jacksonville. We push into a riot in downtown Jacksonville. Superimpose axe handles Saturday. It's a series of shots. City police overwhelmed by the mob violence. Ku Klux Klan spraying deodorant on black heads. The sheriff's department moving in. Officer Cody, a younger man at the scene. Blood and gore in the aftermath. We are back at the sink at the marina. Cody's hands shake with nervous tension as he moves toward a newspaper on the table. He stares down at a picture. It's a photo of Johnnie Mae Chappell's husband looking over her dead body. Angle on Cody's disconsolate face. We fade to the interior of Chappell's residence. Johnnie Mae Chappell, black mother of 10, comes into the house. Grocery bags hug both her hands. Willie, a cement worker, appears tired, worn. Willie, I think I might drop my wallet. There's a hole right there. Looks like the ice cream caused it. Oh, shoot. Looking down at her swollen feet. Why don't you let me go look? I got it. Wasn't that far back, so I felt the paper sack getting soggy. The exterior of New Kings Road at night. We follow Johnnie Mae as she retraces her steps. We hear a gunshot. Swish pan to dark sedan leaving the scene. Swish pan to Johnnie Mae. As she staggers across US 1 and falls to the ground in front of the banner Food Market. An officer cradles her in his arms. Don't worry, an ambulance is on the way. Oh no, Mr. Policeman. I'm going to die. Our camera follows an ambulance fading away. We hear Lee Cody in voiceover. Mrs. Chappell died en route to the hospital. She was then taken to the morgue. Shelton Chappell was only 4 months old at the time of his mother's murder. The only photo that Shelton possesses of her today is the one of her lying on the cold slab. We fade to black. Lee Cody stares across the marina. And then there were the Tush Hogs. According to Cormac McCarthy and Suttree, a Tush Hog was a bullying redneck white trash boy or man. Of course, Coleman and I knew that Duval County was full of them. We also knew the ilk of those old who lived in those assigned districts, both the criminals and the law-abiding citizens. The county was huge. Deputies had arrest powers in the entire county, including the city of Jacksonville. The boys and the young men of this area often had a rawness and a rough edge to them. They were hot rodders, bar fighters, petty thieves, and generally had a knack for staying trouble. Because of this, we knew that our job could be dangerous and unpredictable. We cut to the interior of the courtroom. August 12th, 1964. Wayne Chessman and Elmer Cato sit at the defendant's table. We push in on Chessman, who rises, takes the stand. The prosecutor steps up to the plate. Chessman, hand on Bible, swears to tell the truth. Prosecutor, how did the night start out? Chessman responds, J.W. Rich, Eugene, James Davis, Elmer Cato, and of course me, we were met up at the Freeze-At Drive-In restaurant around 7 p.m. What happened from there? We left and drove downtown toward the riots. We were all very drunk. What happened when you found this lady on the side of the road? Rich picked up my .22 pistol from the seat and fired out the front passenger side window. Thank you, nothing more. We're at the exterior of the Chessman residence at dusk. Patrol car slides to a stop in the driveway. Detectives Cody and Coleman slip out of the vehicle, approach the porch. Through a window, we observe Chessman lying on a sofa, the light of the TV illuminating his socked feet. The only item separating the officers from the inside is the screen door. Cody knocks. Wayne, it's Sergeant Cody and Sergeant Coleman. How about coming to the door and talking to us? Of an interrogation room. We're at the sheriff's office. We see a sparsely furnished room, still table, 4 chairs. A Bible lie open in front of Chessman, who sits opposite the officers. We close on underlying passage, Thou shalt not kill. Lee Cody. Read what is underlined in red, Wayne. Chessman's eyes are drawn to the 6th commandment. Go on and read it. Thou shalt not kill. Do you have any comments? Chessman does a little dance in his mind. And, oh my God, I didn't shoot her. Sarge, I was just in the car. You didn't shoot who? That old lady on US 1 during the race riots last March. Well, if you didn't shoot her, who did then? J.W. Rich shot her. We were all in Elmer Cato's car. Who else was in the car? Elmer was driving, J.W. was in the front seat, and Eugene Davis was in the back seat with me. Whose gun was it? It was mine. Describe it for me, Wayne. It's an HR .22 caliber target pistol. After Chessman's confession, it should have been a relatively easy process to wrap up the case. In those days, when we made an arrest connected to a previous case to which we had not been assigned for follow-up, we would go to the records division and pull the case file. This step began with pulling from the alpha file the 5x7 index card filled out on every case. From the case file, it could be learned the identity of the detective team originally assigned to follow up the case for investigation. The case was only a few months old, and considering the racially charged atmosphere in Jacksonville, we surely would have heard if there had been any development surrounding the Chappell homicide. The detective's obligation then would have been to identify and notify the detectives originally assigned to the case and last March for follow-up investigation. So they're in the interior of the evidence room. Cody's parked Coleman asking if the file's in the chief's office. So Lee Cody says, let's take a look. We had the evening shift, so we had a key to the chief's office. That's where the radios, car keys, and other pieces of equipment were kept. Since we knew the chief, J.C. Patrick, also occasionally examined case files himself and had a habit of piling them along his office wall, it seemed like a logical place to look. Coleman plops himself into the chief's chair. As he sits, the chair rolls a bit. We notice the corner of a white paper protruding from under the chair's mat. I wonder what that might be. I don't know. Let's take a look. The detectives observe what appeared to be 30 or 40 individual pages of various reports. It's the type County Road Patrol addendum to the Chappell homicide. County Patrol Officer William Plaster, that's right. Case number stamped right there. We ought to be able to contact the assigned case detectives. You know what all this means, right? Our boss is not who we thought he was. And he's on his way over here right now. You can bet your ass. Son of a bitch. There's no time for that, partner. Cody's trying to retrieve all those files from under the mat. Nah, I guess not. He probably won't be too happy about our accidental discovery. We cut to the interior of the records division. We follow Cody and Coleman into a deep abyss of case files. We push in as they stop in front of an empty space where the file had once rested. They leave empty-handed, striding toward their squad car. Lee Cody, if that don't tell all, I don't know what does. Obstruction of justice in a capital civil rights hate crime homicide. Shit just doesn't happen. Sloppy police work or misfiling, not by any stretch of the imagination. What do you think we should do? At this juncture, keep quiet and have to give it to Sheriff Carson. Damn, I want to go back there and look. I just know the whole case is under the mat. There's no justifiable legal reason for Chief Patrick to have any part of the case file hidden like that. I don't buy it. We're in the interior of the sheriff's office. Sheriff Carson is debonair, the devil in disguise. He sits languidly behind his desk. Cody and Coleman are like two sheep. Sheriff Carson says, Don't do anything else on this case until you hear from me. Cody, we just figured everything would work out. We thought no way Patrick could get away with this. This obstruction. Assuming that Patrick would be immediately under the intense scrutiny of the state and federal attorneys. And FBI would probably be on the way to a federal penitentiary. Because of Sheriff Carson's instructions, we made no attempt on that day to approach the county medical examiner for additional ballistic evidence. The next day, Chief Patrick, drunk, blood-red face, is waiting for Coleman and Cody. He hovers over them in a rage. You two motherfuckers come to my office. We move there. Let me tell you two motherfuckers something. You can't rock this fucking boat. Cause this anchor's too fucking big. Stay out of the sheriff's office and don't touch the Chappell case. We jump cut to outside. Coleman said, we're in deep shit. God almighty, Donald. Chief Patrick has Sheriff Carson compromised. What in the world could we have on him? Sheriff Carson obviously told Patrick what we reported to him. No one else knew. We're being dragged into some serious uncharted waters, partner. It's evil, I tell you. How on God's green earth could Sheriff Carson, a former agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, allow himself to become criminally complicit? That's $1 million question. Especially considering the fact that the nation is brimming with racial violence, homicides, church bombings, and lynchings. Sheriff Carson certainly has to know that if it's proven that he obstructed justice by protecting the original obstructor, it can't be its chief of detectives, James Calvin Patrick. He himself could face capital punishment. Certainly he knows this, Donald. Think about it. A mule pen, the Ku Klux Klan case. President Johnson ordered J. Edgar Hoover to assist the local officials in Philadelphia, Mississippi, after Hoover had refused FBI involvement to locate the 3 young missing civil rights workers, Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner. Hoover explained his reluctance by stating that the FBI was not a police force, but an investigative agency. The missing 3 men were found on August 4, 1964, buried in a dike near Philadelphia, Mississippi. That was a week prior to when we met with Sheriff Carson to report Chief Patrick's criminal obstruction of justice in the Chappell homicide. That's right, just think about it, Coleman. While 150 plus FBI agents and 400 U.S. naval personnel were combing Mississippi attempting to locate 3 missing civil rights workers, Chief James Calvin Patrick, an FBI Academy graduate, and his superior, Sheriff Del George Carson, a former FBI agent, were obstructing justice in the capital murder of a black mother of 10 children. A lady named Johnnie Mae Chappell. I'm not surprised. It's like deja vu for me. What do you mean, Coleman? It's like the Cochran case. Well, I'm gonna put an end to this if it's the last thing I do. You in or out, Coleman? I'm right there with you, buddy. We fade to black. 14th Denial by Lee Cody. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. I read my novels and other works with sound effects and visuals that go along with the story. It is a true story. And when I met Lee Cody 10 years ago, I just got done writing my first book and sitting out there one day, and this man pulls up and he says, I'm looking for the author of Dutch Coffee Job. And I said, well, that'd be me. He said, well, I'm getting ready to write this book, and it's about this lady who was killed in cold blood, and it's a true story, and I'm looking to publish this book. I said, well, that sounds interesting. So I became friends with Lee Cody right when he had turned like 80. And he ended up publishing this book, and I ended up writing the screenplay for it. But, nothing's really happened. And here's the thing I want to say. The men who killed this lady, they're still alive today, and they're still free. I mean, this story makes Mississippi burning look like a cakewalk. At any rate, Mr. Cody's 92 now, and he's not getting any younger. He pursued this case through 4 governors. Just a hotbed of corruption down there in Florida. After Johnnie Mae Chappell was killed, all of her 10 kids ended up in the foster system. Her husband, he basically couldn't take it anymore. He probably fell apart, and all the kids got separated, and it's just gut-wrenching. You guys definitely check out if you like true stories, and it's mostly about the 14th Amendment. But what else can you say about Johnnie Mae Chappell? Mr. Cody, he lost almost everything pursuing this case. They basically fired him for insubordination, and it broke his heart. We say they're going to do something about it, but they never do. Poor lady. Yeah, I'm going to encourage you guys to get the book and read the rest of the story. I do have the full screenplay ready for a movie, but I have sent it to several producers, and they always say that they're going to do something, but they don't. And I don't know, will justice be served? There's no statute of limitations on murder. mean, it's probably not as big as like JFK, but it's definitely bigger than like Mississippi burning. Makes it look like a cakewalk.